Paris Saint-Germain have been locked in talks with Lens over the postponement of their Ligue 1 match in a bid to be better prepared for their Champions League fixtures with Liverpool. The European champions will take on the Reds in the quarter-finals of the competition next month, with the first leg scheduled for April 8 in the French capital. Anfield will then host the return leg 6 days later on April 14, but Luis Enrique's side have been trying to get the game against Lens, scheduled for April 11, put on hold. Lens have publicly rejected the approach, leaving it up to the Ligue de Football Professionnel, essentially the French FA, to decide. Lens are said to have been open to the idea if it made sense to them, but it appears that is not the case. A final decision is expected on Thursday. On paper, the league clash would be a big one, with PSG top of Ligue 1 and Lens second. There is just 1 point between the two sides in the league table, with Lens having played a game more. It is reported that PSG have proposed moving the game to May, but that Lens are against the idea because they would have no match for 2 weeks and then 3 in a week if it were to be moved. Lens manager Pierre Sage said after his side's 5-1 win over Angers at the weekend, "We, fundamentally, don't agree. From the top of the pyramid, we don't agree. I understand that having more rest allows for better performance." They confirmed that in their match against Chelsea. They are a very successful club in several competitions. They also understand the constraints. PSG had their game against Nantes postponed last week before they faced Chelsea, allowing the squad extra rest between their two last 16 legs. PSG went on to win the tie 8-2 on aggregate. It's not an uncommon occurrence, with Strasbourg, who are owned by the same group as Chelsea, requesting their game against Brest on April 12 to be postponed. The match is set to take place between their Europa Conference League quarter-final games against Mainz. Liverpool, meanwhile, are booked to host Fulham between the two games on April 11. Lens said in a statement on Monday evening, "In a spirit of responsibility and restraint, Racing Club de Lens informed Paris Saint-Germain, from the outset, of its intention not to have this date change." True to its commitment to sporting stability, the club also chose to refrain from any public communication on this matter. However, the recent increase in public statements, interventions and various suggestions leads us today to break out of this reserve. It seems to us that a worrying sentiment is taking hold. That of a French championship gradually being relegated to the status of a mere variable to be adjusted according to the European imperatives of certain parties. This is a peculiar conception of sporting fairness, the likes of which are hard to find in other major continental competitions. Changing the date of this match today would mean that Racing Club de Lens would be deprived of competition for 15 days and then have to play matches every 3 days. A rhythm that does not correspond to that defined at the beginning of the championship, nor to the means of a club that could absorb this type of new constraint without consequence. It would therefore be understood that the 10th budget of the championship should adapt to the demands of the most powerful, in the name of interests which, obviously, now exceed the domestic framework, which has already been lightened in recent seasons. L1 to 18 clubs, cessation of the League Cup. Beyond this particular case, the question raised is more fundamental, that of the respect due to the competition itself. For it is legitimate to question this when, on its own soil, the championship sometimes seems relegated behind other ambitions, however legitimate they may be. Racing Club de Lens remains committed to fairness, clear rules, and respect for all stakeholders. Simple principles for a fair and respected French football.